Are you ready?
Let's go. It's about a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, we could start early. So do we need Isaiah for this? Welcome. Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn.
My heart is open, open wide to the songs of the earth. My heart is open wide to the songs of the earth. My heart is open wide to the song of you. My heart is open wide to the song of you. My heart is open wide to the song of my soul. My heart is open wide to the songs of my soul.
Good morning and welcome, everybody.
Good morning.
And it's a very good morning. My name is Ben Basili. I serve on your board of trustees. And I am your worship associate on this lovely, lovely day. I use the pronouns he and him. We welcome you into this sanctuary where we celebrate diversity and learn from one another, no matter our differences, to deepen our sacred connections and transform the world with love. We are so glad that we have you with us here today as we awaken curiosity by participating in the annual ritual that we know as the Flower Communion, a practice of inclusivity, diversity, and interconnectedness. Heather will get us started with the call to community.
Well, good morning. I am Heather Norby. I am the Spiritual Life Director for this fantastic congregation, and it's a pleasure to be with you. We say love plus connection equals transformation, and of course we offer several opportunities during which we can connect and learn how to transform the world. So, I offer you a meeting this Wednesday. At 5 p.m., it's the worship committee meeting. We meet, we talk about services, we review services, we give ideas for future services, we talk about finding guest speakers and all sorts of exciting things. So please join us in the sanctuary this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Everybody is welcome. And then at 6:30, after that meeting, we have dinner worship. I usually bring a pot of rice, and you are all invited to bring something to go with that and to share with others. And we talk about something relevant to the month's theme, and June is flourishing together. So I look forward to joining in conversation with all of you on Wednesday night. And we always say for dinner worship, the conversation is the sermon. And then this Saturday, June 6th, it is June 6th already, next Saturday, is the Pride and Faith Choir rehearsal at Beacon Hill Fellowship, which is located in Lakeland. Beacon Avenue, I think it is just off of South Florida. It's where that chicken place. Lovebird. Okay, so right where Lovebird is, it's like hot pink, right? You would go west from there. Well, it depends on which way you're coming from, right? Go to the west, and Beacon Hill is just down the road, and that starts at 6 p.m. Whether you can sing or not, just come join us. It's fun. And then Saturday, June 20th at Munn Park, We have Pride in the Park. Of course, UUCL sets up a tent. We greet people. We have lots of fun. We will have electricity, so there will be fans because it will be sweltering hot. We know it might even rain, but we have a tent. And yeah, we just have a lot of fun together. So Sherry's looking for people to pick up some 2-hour shifts. Looks like we've got setup taken care of, and then we need people to fill in 11 to 1, 1 to 3, and 3 to 5, and then to help tear down and return things to UUCL. So please see me or Sherry preferably, and sign up to help out with that. If you're new and interested in getting to know us and UUCL and what Unitarian Universalism is all about, please see Adam and Emily and Ben, right? After the service in the corner. And they will be happy to greet you and tell you what's going on and when our starting point classes might start. Adam's trying to schedule that. I just want to let you know that there's adult coloring books available in that over there on that corner. There's a whole stack of them that I thrifted. I thrifted it. Okay, it's my favorite thing to say.
Thank you, Vanna.
And there's colored pencils as well to go. I know some people just like to doodle while they're listening, and so that is available to you. Thank you. Athena's showing them off back there. Also, the Sussman Yard Sale has come to UUCL, and Petra's been working hard to set it up in the social hall this morning. So take what you want, take what you need, leave what you can. She's sharing 50% of whatever she receives with UUCL. Thank you. All right. And of course, check your order of service and our e-newsletter, which will come out June 1st, which is tomorrow. And we'll have all that information and more available. Thank you. And Ben will help us get our chalice lit.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. We light it each Sunday, as do UU churches around the world, to create sacred space, to connect us with one another, and to remember who we are as a people of faith. Let us center ourselves in love as we, as we recite the covenant for our shared UU value of pluralism, which I think is on the slide. Yes, okay. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology, and we commit to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning.
We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect.
Jamie, would you please do us the honor of lighting our chalice? Let us rise in body or spirit to sing in English and in Spanish. Words of life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Vente amor, ven hacia mí. Ya corazón, cántale tu compasión. Sopla la, sube en la mar, hasta morir. La justicia
is the moment when I invite the children and the young at heart to join me at the front. Try not to make obnoxious noise. Good morning. How are ya? Good. It's good to see ya. Thumbs up. All right. Well, I have a little story for you today. It's a story that I tell every year for Flower Communion. Because Flower Communion is a ritual. Do you know what that means? What's a ritual? Grown-ups, what's a ritual? Something you do over and over until it gives you meaning. Well, we do Flower Communion once a year, and we've been doing it, well, the Unitarians have been doing it for 103 years. That's a long time. That's a long time. And so I like to tell the story of how the Flower Communion started, because I think that provides us with meaning. It connects us to our ancestors, right? And it lets us know why we do this ritual every year, all right? So my story is called Norbert's Lasting Idea, and it was written by Laurel Whitehouse. It's about a man, his name's Norbert J. Peck. He was born 156 years ago in June of 1870. He grew up in troubled times in Europe. Do you know where Europe is? Yeah? Across the ocean? What do you think? Yeah. During World War I, his safety was threatened because he spoke out against those who tried to restrict freedom of worship. Meaning, people were trying to tell him and other people what they could and couldn't believe and what they could and couldn't do when they went to church. Can you believe that? So Norbert and his wife came to America, where Norbert discovered Unitarianism and became a Unitarian minister. So this was around 1914 or so. Why would Norbert come to America? Opportunity. Religious freedom. That's right. Our First Amendment guarantees religious freedom. It says you can go to whatever church you want to or not. You can believe whatever you want to or not, right? Amen. Once the war ended, Reverend Norbert wanted to return to share his love of Unitarianism with the people of his country, which was now the newly created country of Czechoslovakia. Have you ever heard of Czechoslovakia? No? No, it's over there across the big ocean in Europe. He returned to the city of Prague in 1921 and started a brand new church, which grew and grew as more and more people came to listen to Reverend Norbert's sermons. The war had left many miseries, as war does, doesn't it? And a hard life for the people of Prague. Families had been broken up, businesses had been ruined, and many of his congregants didn't have enough money to meet their needs. Do you think there's people struggling in this country, in America today? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people struggling. Do you know what kind of struggles people are facing? Lots of different struggles. Let's just leave it there, huh? All kinds of things are happening today, and we want to help people, don't we? Yeah. Well, Unitarianism was new to Czechoslovakia, and the worship service was unlike ours today. There were no stories. Can you imagine no stories? No, I know, I'd be sad. And there was no music. What? I know. And the sermons? there were no stories today, we wouldn't know about this. That's right. We have to tell our stories. That's right. It's important, isn't it? And the sermons were very, very, very long. Can you, no, hours maybe. The church building was plain and cold in the bitter winters. Still, people came because they were eager for worship, spirituality, connection, right? They needed friends, and hope as they tried to rebuild their lives. Reverend Norbert knew that the people who came to hear his sermons were learning about Unitarianism and building a new faith together. But he also knew that the daily struggle continued to be 5 years after the war. He knew the wariness of the troubles and sadness they carried and how his people yearned for a sense of connection and possibility. Do you think that we're all yearning for a sense of connection? Do we need to be connected to other people, make friends? Yeah? And figure out possibilities for our future? What do you think, grown-ups? Yeah. So Norbert Čapek went for a walk along the river Vltava, which winds through Prague. And as he slowly crossed one of the many bridges over the river, he began to think about how to lift the spirits of his congregation. How could he bring them some happiness? He wanted to help them have hope. Sometimes hope is hard to find, isn't it? So Reverend Norbert saw flower growing in the bare and scuffed earth near the edge of the river, and the beauty and bravery of the little flower bloom lifted his spirits. Do you sometimes see flowers growing in weird places like the sidewalk or something? No? On a rock? No? Well, how about this? When you do see flowers growing, does it make you feel any certain way? Or you're just like, oh, a flower. How boring. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, then we have a job to do. We need to get them excited about flowers, y'all. Okay. All right. You like the flowers? Do you like the flowers at least? All their colors, all their many colors? They're pretty. All right. Well, Norbert felt really hopeful and happy when he saw that flower, and he wanted to share that uplifted feeling with his congregation. But how? His church had no altar flowers or gardens around it. Reverend Norbert thought and thought as he walked, but he just didn't have any ideas about how to share the feeling that the flower had given him. Then he came to a small child from his congregation who smiled at him and held out a flower for him. Have you ever given anyone a flower? Give your moms a flower? Yeah? Yeah? Are you sure? How about a smile? You smile and give a flower? How do you think that makes the person feel? Pretty good? Yeah. Well, Reverend Norbert smiled back with a happy heart and realized in that moment how to spread this warm feeling with his church members. It was spring, and there were flowers growing everywhere in Prague, in the parks, along the river, even in the rubble still left from the war. Reverend Norbert spread the word to his congregation to bring a flower to the worship service that next Sunday. And everyone did show up with a flower. There were stems of white daisy-like chamomile, yellow many-petaled leopard's bane, the bright pink rockets of cyclamen, plump yellow clusters of primroses, fuzzy pink spires of hens and chicks, deep blue gentians, pinky purple pasque flower, and of course, many roses, which are the national flower of Czechoslovakia. I don't know what some of those others are, but I know what a rose is. Do you know what a rose is? Yeah, and I see some back in our flower collection. So on June 4th, 1923, the day after Norbert's 53rd birthday, that plain church was bursting with colorful clusters of flowers, each uniquely beautiful, short, tall, spiky, round, scented, and vibrant. And the uniquely beautiful faces of the congregants were also bursting with smiles of warmth and hope as they felt the powerful forces of growth and possibility in nature and in each other. Do you see smiles bursting on the faces of the people? Turn around, look at them. Smiles bursting. Look at that. How lovely. It's because we know we can grow something beautiful together. Reverend Norbert Chapek called that feeling of hoping and visioning for a more beautiful future, he called it the hidden cry for harmony with the infinite. Isn't that nice? He says each person feels that inside. At the end of the service, that day when they chose a flower to take home, those seeds of hope and harmony and fellowship went with them and began to grow in their hearts and spirits, knowing they were connected in meaningful ways to one another. Well, we can't be sure if that's exactly how the first Flower Communion Sunday happened 103 years ago in Prague, but it's a nice story, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost mostly true. So, we're going to do something now. We need to bring the flowers up. And there's a lot of them this year. So I'm going to ask all of you to help Melissa and Jerry bring up the flowers. And we're going to put them wherever we can find space on the altar. And then, of course, each of you will get to pick one before you go out to RE, okay? Okay. Are you ready? Let's go get those flowers. Yeah, all of those vases. There's many. All right, here come the flowers. Bring them on up. Wherever you'd like. It's good. Where do you want to put that one? That's a good spot right next to the heart. And do you see a flower you want to take? Where do you want to put that one? You want to put it over here? Space right here. There you go. You like that flower? Sure, you can take that one. Oh, I love that one. So bright and cheery. All right. Want to get a flower? Want to get a flower, you too? Get a flower. No? A flower, honey? We have so many flowers this morning. It's lovely. All right. All right. So many, they're just falling out. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, Jerry, where do we have room for that one? That's the big one.
It's also the heaviest one.
Yes. We're exercising you today. Thank you. Enjoy your flowers. All right, look at that. Gorgeous. All right.
Just beautiful. Here we gather, tucked back in this friendly neighborhood between the beautiful tall pines. We are a small church with big aspirations. But we can grow into those aspirations when we give of our time, talent, and treasure. Delightfully, this is a relationship of reciprocity, for in return for our giving, we receive the gifts of a community, friendship, support, connection, and joy. The ushers will now pass our plates to receive your gifts.
Thank you all so much for your blessings. As a congregation, we come together in many ways. Through collaboration and commitment, we support one another. Our ritual of joys and sorrows allows us to put that into tangible practice. Oh, our Joys and Sorrows book, could I have somebody bring that up to me, please? Is an opportunity to share with everyone here something that is occurring in your life, whether that be an ongoing source of grief or something that made you smile for a brief yet memorable moment. Before the beginning of service, the Joys and Sorrows book is accessible to anyone who wishes to write down a personal joy or sorrow and to share. It sits on the podium just through the main entrance to the sanctuary. I'll read the entries for today. From Jay. They say, I will be visiting my children in Tennessee this week, and I'm over the moon. My girls, Layla and Paisley, are turning 16 on the 2nd of June, and I couldn't have made the trip happen without Petra and Joshua and all of you for being my chosen family and support system. Thank you. That being said, I will not be here next weekend to help with hospitality, so we will need all of your help and hands to make things move smoothly. Thank you in advance. Thank you. As a congregation, we value interdependence, and sharing our joys and sorrows through words and ritual is a part of what that means to us. So I invite you all to partake in our ritual of dropping stones into our joys and sorrows bowls. It is an act of coming together, perhaps with the divine, or fellow members of the congregation, or with parts of yourself that you wish to connect with. In this moment, you are welcome to come together in whichever way feels right to you. The stones are at the back of the sanctuary. You can form 2 lines and find the bowls that are hidden now under the flowers and drop your stones into one of them. Thank you. Good morning to anyone joining us on streaming. We will say our little but so deeply meaningful prayer together. You are not alone. We are holding it together. Please join me now in singing a hymn out of our great hymnal. It's number 130. It's called "O Liberating Rose." Thank you. Rowan did some last-minute magic and got the lyrics on the screens. You can still use your hymnal, though. All right, please rise in body or spirit and let us sing together.
Liberating rose that glows on ragged stem, your beauty helps oppressed lose power to condemn. Your buds are tight with prophecy, your throne for poetry. You sign the whole and gift of life. A liberating fire that calls for cleansing rage. Whenever hurtful lies distort our present age, your dancing dreams are liberty to challenge each indignity. You sign the whole in faith of life. A liberating song whose echo now we sing. Your lyrics welling line rekindle strengthening. Your harmonies portray the time when seeds we sow shall bloom sublime. You sign the whole in hope of life. Oh, liberating love, we hear you in a sigh. We cleanse you when we see awaits a weary eye. We touch you when our hands extend to soothe or to embrace a friend. You sign the whole and source of life.
Every person, the Reverend Norbert Chapek wrote, is an embodiment of God, and in every one of us, God struggles for higher expression. When Norbert Chapek took his Unitarian religion from the United States back to Czechoslovakia in 1921, he believed he was taking back a religion that reflected the history of the true spirit of the Czech people, something that would connect them to their pre-Catholic roots. And he wasn't wrong. In a matter of a couple years, Chapek was ministering to the largest Unitarian church in the world, with over 3,000 members. This large community was diverse, with varied ethnic, educational, socioeconomic, and religious backgrounds. There were ex-Catholics, ex-Jews, Protestants, and even people with no church background at all, but who were intrigued by Chapek's unique energy and vision for a more loving world. Imagine then a large congregation with such varied beliefs and a diversity of backgrounds coming together week after week during a time of much unrest in Europe, during a time in which fascism was rising. How did they hold themselves together? How did they nurture their relationships? I imagine Chapek's congregation was theologically curious. Most Unitarian Universalists are. We have many questions about who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. But social curiosity about other people, may be a more difficult trait to awaken. Like any sort of relationship skill, being successfully curious about other people requires the nurturing of particular dispositions. As Unitarian Universalists, we also strive to be compassionate and loving people. We just don't always know exactly what that looks like in action. So, what does awakening social curiosity actually require from us? Well, as Ted Lasso reminds us, we need to let go of being judgmental of other people, judging their intelligence, their abilities, their choices, as if we understand the lifetime of experiences that shaped them and the complexity of who they have become. And we don't. People are complex, multifaceted, even contradictory. We contain multitudes. Being non-judgmental of other people means dropping assumptions and asking questions instead, opening ourselves up to whole new worlds for the sake of understanding so we may connect, learning so we can all know better how to transform this world towards beauty. I wonder if Chapek's Flower Communion helped to nurture a transforming kind of social curiosity among his people. At his first Flower Communion on June 24th, 1923, when he invited everyone to bring a simple flower and place it in a large vase as they entered the church, Chapek then preached about unity. As theologian David R. Weiss describes, this was a unity grounded in God who loved them all and who took joy in their common flourishing. Sounds very universalist. Chapek helped grow a flourishing congregation. He reminded them that just as each one of the flowers had unique needs, so did each person. That just as each flower has a unique beauty and gift to offer, so does each one of them. But how do we really get to know other people so that we understand the unique needs and gifts of others? How do we get to know that unique beauty in other people so we can celebrate it? Well, we have to go beyond just saying we are curious and learn how to be lovingly curious. In order to really know a person, as David Brooks explains in his book, How to Know a Person, we need to center our approach in the qualities of an illuminator's gaze. In other words, to illuminate the other person and their unique needs and gifts by embodying a few important qualities ourselves. For example, he writes, we need tenderness, to approach one another with care, to truly embody a deep emotional concern for one another because we understand how intricately and interdependently we are connected. We need receptivity, which means to open yourself up to the experience of another, rather than being preoccupied with protecting your own viewpoints. It also means doing our best to ignore our own anxieties. That's really hard. So we can be more receptive to what the other person is saying to us. We need active curiosity, of course, which encourages us to wonder what it would be like to be the other person, to shift our perspective so we can better understand theirs. We need affection, which he defines as approaching someone with a willingness to hear their truth and to offer them love. We need a generous spirit that sees the inherent worth and dignity of every single person so that we can offer grace, knowing that they are imperfect just like we are ourselves. And also, we should take on a holistic attitude that helps us to see the entire person, not just generalizations of them, not stereotypes, not a portrait that we have drawn of them based on one mistake, but to understand that we are all, every one of us, complex human beings with many facets to our beingness. We all have flaws, imperfections, and talents, skills, and beauty. All of us. When we don't see people in their wholeness, we mistreat one another, great evils are committed, and our sacred connections are severed. Norbert Chapek knew this, and he created a ritual to help his people know one another so that they might grow a vision of beauty. After his sermon about unity on that flower communion, Chapek invited the members to come to the front and take a flower from the diverse bouquet, a flower different from the one they brought. They were then to bring it home and to care for it just as they should care for one another. He asked them to imagine that the flower was just like the human that brought it, with unique needs and gifts, and to awaken curiosity within themselves about all of that. He asked them to notice with tenderness those unique needs and to celebrate the beauty of one another, regarding with, as he phrased it, regarding with awe the God-given glory of not just the flower, but their fellow congregants. When World War II began, the flower communion had become a powerful ritual. Chapek had helped the Czech people rebirth their spirituality. He truly did unite many of them, building not only their relationships, but their strength and resilience. They became a people who gathered together and resisted the forces of fascism that sought to destroy them. Chapek resisted and persisted for many years until he was about 70 years old. And then in 1941, he and his daughter Zora were arrested by the Gestapo. As the Dictionary of Unitarian and Universalist Biography tells the story, Zora was accused of listening to foreign broadcasts and distributing the content of BBC transmissions. Chapek himself was accused of listening to foreign broadcasts and of high treason. Several of his Unitarian sermons were cited as evidence of the latter charge. The appeals court found Chapek innocent of the treason charge, recommending that, given his age, the year between his arrest and the appeals trial be counted toward his jail time. That was ignored. In seeking revenge for an assassinated Nazi official in Czechoslovakia, Chapek was sent to Dachau anyway. They knew what kind of leader he was. They knew he was one capable of inspiring the people to rise against them. Zora was forced into labor in Germany. She did survive, but Chapek's name appears among prisoners sent on an invalid transport on October 12th, 1942 to Hartheim Castle near Linz, Austria, where he died in the gas chamber. Just 10 weeks before his death, in a Dachau prison cell, Chapek wrote, "The goal of a higher religion is a harmonious, strong, confident, active, creative, loving personality in harmony with itself, with nature, with humanity, and the spirit of all life. It should not be thought that God is incarnated in just one individual." Chapek's brilliant and luminous vision sustained him throughout his time in Dachau, and certainly it can inspire us too today. It can inspire us to awaken our curiosity of one another and find harmonious ways that we, a beautiful and diverse bouquet of humans, can live and flourish together. As theologian David Weiss wrote, Chapek's flower communion is not just a cute ritual. It is a ritual that imbues us with a great deal of power and vision to not be like the disconnected world out there, but to create a strong and resilient community that can resist the forces of evil and create something better for all humans. We are here 103 years later, despite the world's atrocities, to co-create with Chapek's vision of a harmonious world. So let us begin our flower communion by singing together one of Chapek's hymns that is found in our gray hymnal. Chapek wrote this hymn entitled View the Starry Realm in the 1920s, well before his time in Dachau. If you look at the bottom of the page of hymn number 28, it says that the name of the tune is Dachau. It turns out that the tune was composed by Chapek's other daughter, whose name was Bodana Haspel. It was composed by her specifically for his words and then named Dachau to honor his martyrdom. So please rise in body or spirit and let us sing his hopeful words.
Into spring, great you are beyond conception, gods of gods and gods of stars. My soul soars with your perception. I escape from prison bars. I escape from prison bars. You, the one within all for me. Heart and mind and breath, you, my guide through hate's fierce storming, courage in both life and death, courage in both life and death. Life is yours, in you I grow tall, seed will come to fruit, I know. Trust that after winter snowfall, walls will melt and truth will flow. Walls will melt and truth will flow.
Please remain standing in body or spirit. We will consecrate the flowers. Whenever Dr. Chapek conducted his flower communion in Prague, he would say this proverb as he consecrated the flowers. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. So it is time now for us to share in the flower communion. As you approach the communion vase, do so reverently, with a sense of how important it is for each of us to address our world and one another with tenderness, receptivity, curiosity, generosity, and love. You can select a flower or two or three, there's plenty, different from the ones you brought, and return to your seat. So you were invited to come up. If you didn't bring one, that's okay. Like I say, there's plenty. So we might want to make a couple different lines here. And then we'll go back to our seat for a short meditation. so many beautiful flowers left over, so feel free to take more home with you at the end of the service. So let's practice centering ourselves in the ways which help us to really get to know one another. Hold your flower. Hold it with tenderness and care, remembering to foster a deep emotional concern and understanding of how intricately we are connected. Hold your flower with receptivity, opening yourself up to the experience of this other being and letting go of your own viewpoints. Hold your flower with active curiosity and wonder what it would be like to be this flower. Study it. Notice its qualities. What is obvious? What is more subtle that you might miss if you didn't really illuminate it? Hold your flower with affection. Notice its beauty and listen for its truth. Recognize its imperfections and flaws, and offer it grace. Allow for your generous spirit to hold that flower, all its beauty and all of its flaws, all of its complex beingness, and recognize its inherent worth and dignity. Hold your flower with a holistic attitude and see it in its entirety. Don't make generalizations. Don't stereotype based on what you already know about that particular kind of flower, but strive to understand its complexities and the many facets to its beingness, its flaws, its imperfections, its talents, its purposes, its beauty. Lovingly accept it as a whole and worthy flower. Now that you have noticed and illuminated your flower with your curiosity, ready yourself to take it home and care for it. Take note on how you do that and wonder if you can take care of one another, strengthening our connections and being the way we wish the world to be. Amen. Ben will offer us the closing communion prayer.
I now offer you Dr. Chapek's communion flower prayer, edited to be inclusive. In the name of Providence, which implants in the seeds of the future of the tree and in the hearts of all the longing for people living in human love, in the name of the highest, in whom we move and who makes the mother, the father, the parent, the siblings, the friends, and the neighbors what they are, in the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of peace and justice, let us renew our resolution, sincerely to be real siblings rooted in love, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges us from one another. In this holy resolution, may we be strengthened, knowing that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us, and may we endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful life. Amen. May we imagine and make it so.
Our closing hymn is also one that Norbert Chapek wrote, and it is in our gray hymnal. It speaks about a growing vision, one sacred enough to call God. So please rise in body or spirit and let us join our voices together for hymn number 78, Color and Fragrance.
Color and fragrance, magical rhythm, sweet changing music will change us with them. Life within life, inner light gently glowing. Surely you seem to be God's vision growing. Oh, starry heavens, worlds of all splendor, suns without number, new life engender, wheel in a wheel with a light brightly glowing, moving in harmony, God's vision growing. Handful of pebbles on mountain passes, depths of the ocean, dew on the grasses, great things and small with a light gently glowing. Word of the wordless song, God's vision growing. Delicate beings, lacewing and sparrow, in field and forest, clover and yarrow, life greeting life with a light brightly glowing. Are not too small to be God's vision growing. In human eyes burns the soul of living, illumines altars of loving giving. Greeting we meet, seeing light lightly glowing, sharing a greater life, God's vision growing. Shaper of all things, to us you've given our chance to keep here on earth of heaven, moving in harmony, light gently glowing. May we be gratefully God's vision growing.
Will you join Jamie and me as we extinguish this chalice? We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts and out into the world